Hello and welcome back to my second video on my booktube channel. My name's Adrian, my channel's all booked up, and today we are going to be doing another tag so you can get to know me a little bit better, know a little bit about my reading habits, and just some of my opinions really. So this tag I first saw on Alan's channel over at Library of Alexandria. I've decided to tag myself. So we're doing a rapid fire tag, okay? So I've got 23 questions. 23 questions, okay? And we are going to be doing rapid fire. So here we go. Question number 1. Ebook or physical book? For me personally, at the minute, this has got to be ebook. And that is because I live in a small terrace house in the north of England with my wife and my young daughter. I do not have the shelf space. I do not have the room space for all the books I want to be reading. So my wife very kindly bought me a Kindle for Christmas this year. So yeah, absolutely, I am fully on the ebook train, apart from some of my absolute favourites I do own physically. Question number 2, paperback or hardcover? Paperback. Really, I don't need to explain this. Paperbacks, easier to read, better to read, just wonderful around. But like I said, actually at the minute, I'm on my Kindle. Question number 3, online or in-store book shopping? Okay, I think like most people, I love pondering around a bookshop. I love sort of wandering around, seeing what they've got, exploring what they have. Obviously, with the way things are in the world at the minute, it is definitely easier to do online. And actually, again, now that I'm on my Kindle, online is the way for me, unfortunately, at the minute, even though it wouldn't actually be my preference. Question number 4, trilogies or series? So, this is a tricky one. Some of my favourite all-time series are both of these, either longer than that or actually 3-book series. I think personally I would have to say series, and that's because I like to trust an author to write as many books as they need to tell their story. I think trilogies can be great, they can keep things tight and compact, but actually some stories are bigger than that, some stories are shorter than that. Like, if you need a duology, do it in a duology. If you want to do a standalone. Give me whatever length series you need to tell the story you want to tell. My favourite series of all time is Wheel of Time, which is a 14-book series, or a 15-book series if you count the prequel. And that, okay, maybe didn't need to be quite that long, but it needed to be a long enough story to tell the story that Jordan wanted to tell. And I think that is absolutely perfect. I'm very happy with that. Give me the length of story you need to give me. Question 5, heroes or villains? So, I think with the way modern fantasy is going, I am actually going to have to say heroes. Now, I know lots of people say villains are more interesting. You can do more with villains. They are more fun. You can do more interesting things with them, which is kind of true. And particularly in traditional fantasy, I would agree completely. What I would say is, I think in modern fantasy and modern books, you get a lot more leeway to give your characters flaws. There's a lot more opportunity for heroes to be flawed heroes, and I think actually heroes nowadays can be a lot more interesting, and so that's what I would have to go with. Question 6, a book you want everyone to read. For this, I'm going to have to say Tigana by Guy Gavriel Kay. Now, it is a little bit older. The prose is, in my opinion, wonderful, but for a lot of people they might think it's a bit too dense, it's a bit too purple. But the story that is being told there, the themes that come through in Tigana are just wonderful. I would heartily recommend it. It is based in sort of, it's a secondary world, but it's almost based on Renaissance Italy, and the themes of nationality and pride and memory are just explored so well. You should all read Tigana. Question 7. Recommend an underrated book series. If you watched my previous video, this is a nice easy question for me. Long Price Quartet by Daniel Abraham. You should see the Goodreads ratings. It is ridiculous. They are so low. The series is so good. It is just absolutely brilliant. It is slow, it is quiet, but it is beautiful and tragic. and it is something that, way underrated in my opinion. Absolutely read Long Price Quartet. Just do it. Just do it. The last book you bought. Now, for me, I've got two options here. Last physical book I bought is not actually here yet because I pre-ordered it. This is John Gwynne. This is The Shadow of the Gods. So it should be here at the beginning of May. So I'm super pumped for that. If we're going for what I've got on my Kindle, I recently bought Bloody Rose by Nicholas Ames, which is what I'm currently reading. So that'll be my most recently bought ebook. So number 9, weirdest thing you've used as a bookmark. I really don't think I've used that many weird things as bookmarks in the past. Receipts. Magic the Gathering playing cards. Yeah, Magic the Gathering cards used to be my go-to. So I don't know if that counts as weird or not. More recently, when I've been reading physical books, I've actually been using my business card. So yeah, nothing too wacky, I don't think. Maybe a Magic the Gathering card might be the weirdest, but I don't think that's that weird really. Great. Question 10. Used books, yes or no? Absolutely. I absolutely am wonderfully happy buying used books. When I was buying more physical books, obviously, I would happily buy used books. When you're reading a lot of books, they're just so much cheaper, and most of them are in pretty good nick. So yeah, absolutely used books, definitely a yes. Question 11. Top 3 genres. So top 3 favourite genres. I would have to say number 1 with a bullet, way ahead of everything else, fantasy. I am a fantasy reader through and through. That is definitely my top genre. It is followed quite a long way back, but followed by sci-fi. I do love sci-fi. I read quite a lot as a teenager, probably more than I did fantasy, to be honest. So yeah, sci-fi definitely has a place in my heart as well. And third, I don't actually read that much else, which is a little bit embarrassing. I would say probably my next most read genre is probably non-fiction. I do like a good biography. I do also like good, just generally interesting non-fiction books, whether they be about maths or philosophy, that kind of stuff. I don't read loads of it, but that would definitely be in third place, I think. Number 12, borrow or buy. I am a book buyer. I like buying books, whether that's physical or digital. Yeah, I am a book buyer. That is definitely, I like to own things. I like to have them and to read them. So yeah, definitely a buyer rather than a borrower. Question 13, characters or plot? Now, this is a really, I can't be rapid fire on this one. This one's too difficult, I think. Characters or plot? I would think, I love characters. I love really good, well thought through, interesting characters. I think that's really the key to a good story. They are super essential. However, you could give me the most interesting characters in the world, and if nothing happens, if the plot is boring or if just there is no plot, I'm putting that book down. I think a good plot can carry bad characters to an okay book. I think good characters couldn't pull you through a book that had just no plot. I don't think that would work. So I'm going to have to be a bit basic, and I'm going to say plot here. Next up, question 14, long or short books. I think there's a place for both of these. I did, however, earlier mention that The Wheel of Time is my favourite series, and they are long books. They are long books. And it would be hypocritical of me now, I feel, to say short books here. So yeah, long books is going to have to be my answer here. 15, long or short chapters. Now, to be a little bit hypocritical, I find really super long chapters pretty difficult. I find that they feel like they bog down the story a little bit. There is sometimes a need for them, but actually my preference here would be for shorter chapters. I think they really can push the narrative forward a bit nicer. To be honest, I can't stop. not at the end of a chapter. I can't stop reading not at the end of a chapter. And the more places you give me to do that, great. It's like when those old video games where you have a save point. Like, if you're going to make me save at specific places, give me lots of them, please, because I need to be able to dip in and out. So yeah, I'd definitely say short chapters. Question 16. Name the first 3 books you can think of. Right, 3 books I can think of. Lord of the Rings. That's probably a rubbish answer. There you go. What other books come to mind? What's on my shelves? The Wheel of Time. That's not a book, that's a series. Let's say Eye of the World, the first one of those. And what else do I have in the other room? My bookcase. Oh, Lion, Witch and the Wardrobe. There we go. I've got a nice C.S. Lewis collection of there as well. So there you go. That was quite old school actually, but there you go. Books that made you laugh or cry. Can I pick one of each? Actually, I've got one that does both. Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Ames. It is very funny, it's very comedic, but actually at the end it did actually get a tear from me as well. I would say that book is beautiful and hilarious and silly, but also has a real couple of gut punches as well. Our world or fictional worlds? Number 18. I don't know. Our world's boring, but I don't feel like I'm going to get murdered anytime soon. So, probably Our World. Yeah, let's go Our World. Question 19. Audiobooks, yes or no? This is a big yes from me. Okay, audiobooks, I love them. About 50% of the reading I do, is audiobooks. Yeah, especially when I'm working, I'm in the car a lot. I love sticking an audiobook on and sort of listening to stories I'm driving. Yeah, it is near to 50% of the reading I do is audiobooks. I love them. I think they're brilliant. Especially there are some that are so well narrated that, yeah, absolutely big yes from me. Number 20. Do you ever judge a book by its cover? I am going to unfortunately say yes. There are some covers that just do not appeal. Now, if someone's told me about a story, told me about a book, if I've heard a good recommendation, if the blurb really catches me, yeah, okay, I can overcome some of those kind of things. But actually, if your cover looks rubbish and no one's talking about you, it's unlikely I'm going to pick you up. So yeah, a good cover, essential. I do sometimes judge books by their cover. Question 21. Book to movie or book to TV adaptation? I think for fantasy, generally, book to TV works better. A lot of series are too big, they're too big a scope, too many character POVs to really do them justice in films. So I would say generally, I think for fantasy, TV adaptations work better. I think there are some exceptions to this. Yeah, I think some trilogies particularly, there are some exceptions. So, for example, Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson, I think would make a wonderful set of films. But yeah, generally, let's say TV. 22. A movie or TV show you preferred to its book? Oh. Eesh. Legitimately, I can't think of one, and that's partially because I feel like if I've seen films, I've actually not read that many of the books sort of that they come from. The obvious ones would be The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, but I love the Lord of the Rings movies. Don't jump on me, I love those movies, they are brilliant. I do not think they're as good as the books. And The Hobbit, let's not talk about that. Move on. So I'm not sure I actually have a good answer for this one, so there we go. Apparently a 22 question book tag, because I've definitely failed on this one. And final question 23, series or standalone? As I said earlier, write the length of story you need to write. Yeah, whatever is right for a particular story completely depends on the story that's being told. However, personally, generally, series. I would definitely come down on the series side of things. For a fantasy reader, for a sci-fi reader, building worlds is such a big part of it, and it's so hard to do that sometimes. People do it well, as I said, Guy Gavriel Kay, master, but generally, let's go for series. There we go, quick fire. I don't know how quick that's going to have come out, but that felt pretty rapid fire for me. Do give this video a like, do subscribe to the channel, and we will see you soon.